It was hard for women back then because when you'd one of these houses, you'd only one cold tap in it, no hot running water at all, no showers, no toilets, and no baths. And you would have to get, if you've just had a baby or whatever you were doing, get your big pail and boil it on the gas to get your hot water, and then put it into the sink. Now, we all get bathed this way on a Sunday. It was like a conveyor belt. There were 7 of us when we were all smaller. And if my daddy didn't get work on a Sunday, he would bath us first, and we'd always get DDT on our hair on a Saturday night to try and stop the galloping dandruff. You see, that would picked up. So he would be doing that. He would scrub you down. And my father was great, never in his life done anything wrong. And he would pass you to my mother, and she would have the bone comb and the towels, and she would drying you off, and the bone comb would be going through. We'd all got this thick, curly hair. Half of us are all redheads, you see. And so she'd be through it, because you were not allowed out on a Sunday to get your clean knickers and vest and your socks on. Usually sand shoes for the summer and wheelies for the winter. That was it. And you had to be all clean that day. You'd them on all week, because I don't remember getting washed much after that to next Sunday. You'd be like that all week. Oh, it was the same. And then the same with the nappies. When you had a baby, you had to clean the nappies, soak the nappies and clean them. If you could afford nappy sand, you were lucky. Not all of us could. I say, been married to an alcoholic, I had very, very little money myself and 4 kids. So I would boil the big pail, put the nappies in and boil them. You're washing them by hand, you're wringing them out by hand, and you're hanging them out, hoping to get them dried. And on a Tuesday, when I get my family allowance, I would go to the steamer, which is a wash house where women no amalgamate. And it was like, for the older women, I think it was like a day out sometimes for them, because you got to see their pals, but you worked hard, because even the steamer, they had hot running water and a tiny little boiler at the side where you'd put in the man's shirt. He'd have one good white shirt, and that would be scrubbed first the neck and put in there, boiled up first of all, and then if you had white sheets or white anything, that was boiled in it, and it was pulled out of there with the stick. You always had the boiler stick, they called it, and that was put into the sink and the cold water running it to rinse them, and then into the second one. Myself, I had to go to steamer quite a lot with my mother. She would go 4 to 6 after school, and what they called a bog, it's just a basket thing, and you put the washing in that, and I had to take that down to the wringer where she carried on washing. And the man, you would put it in the wringer. I wouldn't put the wringer in, she would come into that at that age, but the man would put on the wringer. And I seen a lady getting her arm off in there one day. The spinner had taken off. She's not supposed to put it on herself, and she hadn't put the lid down. And as she'd leaned over, it caught her apron, and she grabbed for her apron. It took her arm. I'll never forget it. But that's what happened a long time ago. And so you'd get all the washing done there. But there was no really anyway. There was what they called a horse dryer. It was probably about that size. This thing, it pulled out, and it was warm inside. You could hang up a few things, but you only have 2 hours, so you can't drive much. So it was getting it home again, and you'd hang it out. If it was early in the day, you would hang it out the back if you could, but it wasn't always your turn. You had to try and get, if nobody was using it, you'd be saying, "Are you using the ropes today?" Good, I'll use them. You know, whoever could, and you tried your best to all fit in with each other and get the washing hung out. It was hard because if you didn't have the money for the steamer, and if you had any bedwetters, you'd sheets to wash all the time, you'd towels to be washing, you'd all the kids' clothes. So it was really hard, and there was no hoovers, there was no washing machines or anything.